Welcome to Dark Horse Workshop, everybody. Today, with the help of my Creality Falcon2 Pro laser cutter engraver, we're going to be putting together my new fantasy pouch pattern. Before we dive into the laser cutting of this project, I don't want to leave you guys hanging who don't have a laser cutter and have no means to get a laser cutter. This is going to be a quick overview of how I deal with cutting out my patterns. Tape them with masking tape to your leather, punch your holes first, and then cut around the outline. You're good to go. Now, I'm sure some of you are already excited to carve this pouch. I've got a great video for you in the description of this video that shows you all the tools you need and the process for leather carving. And trust me, knotwork, really simple. It's just bevels and backgrounds and some cuts, limited tools, and it'll be a lot of fun, trust me. I'm using a 5.5, 6 ounce leather for the main body of this pouch. The gusset is about a 3 ounce. Remember that you can find all my patterns and artwork on my website, link in the description down below, and you can also find those same patterns at a crazy discount on my Patreon, but only on the month they're released, so August 2024. Whenever you're using your laser cutter with Vegetan leather, I definitely recommend wetting it. It'll help with charring and smoke, and it's just generally a good idea. It's not going to be soaking wet, so keep that in mind. I recommend keeping a spreadsheet for all of your power and speed settings with whatever laser you're using. This will save you a lot of time in the future, making sure that you have exactly what you need for that specific thickness for what you want to do with it. I'm still working on mine. I've got a few things in there, but almost all of them are heavy leather, so this one is a lot lighter than I usually do, so there was a little bit of trial and error, and you'll see a little bit of the error in a little bit. Maybe you're watching this video just for the hell of it and you're not interested in doing leathercraft at all. If you need any Viking or Celtic artwork for your other projects, woodcraft, embroidery, whatever, head on over to darkhorseworkshop.com. I've got 25 art packs now that you can pick up with PDF as well as SVG files. As always, for the first 24 hours after the release of a video, the pattern in that video is on sale. So go check out darkhorseworkshop.com, get this pattern at a discount, or join Patreon, get it this month, as well as a bunch of other patterns for a low, low price. Right here, this is the first time I've cut anything this thin on my laser cutter, and it immediately became a problem. I was cutting too slowly at too high a power, so it was flying straight through it really quickly, and it got to a point where it would be a fire hazard and just stop. But once I got it dialed in at a higher speed, because it doesn't need to be super slow, it was fine. Now we're going to bevel all of our edges. I used a number 2, but I probably should have used a number 3. After that, we're going to sand away the charring from the laser so that we can get ready to dye our project. Full disclosure, I am affiliated with LONSDALE Leather, but I absolutely love this line of dyes. It's my new favorite dye, and this turquoise turned out really nice. The only thing that could have made it better is if I had wet the leather before I dyed it. I don't know, I haven't done any new projects in a while, and I just kind of spaced out. I always wet the whole top evenly before dyeing, if I'm dyeing with a dauber or needing to paint with dyes around edges. Otherwise, I'll just use sheep's wool and go really quickly, and I don't need to wet it at all. But if you're having that dye crossing over itself, where it's going to get a weird, like a watermark kind of thing and a inconsistency, it's good to wet it all, then dye it, then oil it. Hey, if the Creality Falcon2 Pro interests you, I have a link in the description of this video where you can go check it out. If you pick one up, I get a small kickback at no charge to you, and it helps me do what I do, so thanks. Here I am putting on a light coat of neat's foot oil. Make sure you buff off any excess and let it all set before applying any finish. After I had the dye problem, then I had the finish problem. I used some of this acrylic Resin from LONSDALE Leather, and it was like the last little bit in the bottle. Not only that, it seems that I had some paper towel inside my spray gun, which made it a disaster, and here I am cleaning it up really quickly with some water and a piece of paper towel. Angelus matte finish is always one of my favorites. Sometimes I mix 1-to-1 water and finish. Just did a straight Angelus matte finish, and it worked good. Nice and even, looks great. Saved my project a bit, especially since it was starting to blotch and I didn't dye it very well. Now it's time to smooth out all my edges. I'm using beeswax and a burnisher here. I think toconol is a better burnishing compound, but it's just a pain in the ass to apply. Beeswax really easy, and so I'm using beeswax. There's currently a contest on the Dark Horse Workshop Discord server for people to make this pouch. And hey, you get a free pattern or art pack just for entering. You can put all kinds of closures on this. Do whatever you want. This is just the idea that came into my head. I hadn't done a closure like this in years, so I just threw a little ring on there. Nice and easy. I think it looks really cool, but there's definitely lots of good options like rolled leather closures, swing clasps, etc. that would look absolutely fantastic on this pouch, and I encourage you to experiment. As usual, I'm doing a simple double needle saddle stitch. You don't need to overthink it, but just in case you are, I'll put a link in the description of this video to a saddle stitching video. You can find tools and supplies in the description of this video, both through my Amazon storefront and Lonsdale Leather with my 10% off coupon code. Once this is all together, you can burnish the back part of your project. You need to wait until it's together because the goal is to make it look seamless. This is also why when you put the two back sides of your project together, you leave those parts unbeveled to help there be less of a visible seam between them. And super late, I decided that the very crisp laser cut oblong punch hole for our O-ring was just way too crisp. And after a while, it was going to start to look kind of crappy of pulling the ring through and pushing it through because of that like super sharp edge. So I just beveled it up, rolled up some beeswax into like a little beeswax stick, and got to waxing it and burnishing it, making sure it was nice and rounded. Well, that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. This pouch turned out way better than I thought it would, especially since halfway through building it, the only handcrafted stuff I needed to do, I started screwing up, like the dyeing and the finish and all that. Sometimes things just work out in the end, which is really awesome. So hopefully that happens with all of your projects. Things just work out. And if they don't, start over, because I've been there, trust me. Well, hold on one second. Before you take off, I've got this other great fantasy pouch video for you guys. This was my original fantasy pouch design, and it's super popular, so you may want to check it out. Hopefully this new one will be just as popular. And until next time, keep on being creative in whatever it is you do.